What could it be? What did we do wrong? And we turn it on, and it works.
Just hearing you say all this frustrates the hell out of me. I want you to know that. Like, having gone through it, I can absolutely say it's the most frustrating shit. It really is. It mystifies me sometimes when technical shit takes off. In code, it's really killer in code because it's Figment. With computers, it's very Figment, but you can typically like let the lead tester figure out if the problem is hardware. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. What am I looking for here? Oh yeah, my chat program. Why am I doing this? Put this on the side. Just gonna get over here for a moment. And I'm gonna open this with Oracle 8 Java Runtime. We're gonna open this as well. And this is all gonna take a second to load. And it may crash, but I have the fan going on the computer now. I'll be right back. I'm gonna hold the test glass out. Whoa. What's up, everybody?
Welcome back. The awkward silence was good.
A little bit of music going on there while you're just staring into space.
Oh, I started watching the GameStone Quick Marathon.
Oh, right
I
on.
love that.
Me too, actually. I'm a big fan.
I
don't really follow.
Whenever it happens, I get to fall asleep watching people play video games every night.
That's why you're always watching Clint Stevens late. No, I started watching him actually. That kid's got some skills.
Yeah,
all right.
he's one of the few speedrunners I like to watch. Only a couple of them.
Yeah, he's alright. He doesn't say a lot.
Caleb's really good. Caleb Hart.
Who?
Caleb Hart. He's really good at Mega Man.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. That was like one of my old favorite games from way back in the day.
Shit. 2 pieces I just forgot. Here we are. Alright. So. Excuse me, what? Let's see how this looks if I zoom it in. Oh wow, that looks like crap. That looks decidedly okay. Let's make you a lot bigger. Like that, I think it was.
Something about there.
Dinner duels, maybe. Oh, all fiery, like with the fire effect. I haven't done that in a long time, actually. All right. Let's get that going there. Chat is right there, and it's good. Sort of. Oh, no, I see. Alright, that's better. Okay, so that's full. And last detail. You know what? I'm just going to leave the injections off. It's nearly the end of the session here. And no one was really raging on it. Alright. Everything done? Yeah, I think so. Oh, actually, there is one slight detail. And that is my Sundays. It's weird, actually. That's really weird. Credits are there. The Doolz Garage text isn't. Oh, I know why. Because of... There. Oops. Fuck. I fucked that up. There we go. Super crucial detail. Holy. Fragging warm in here. It's no wonder the computer died without the fan on it. That's crazy though. Alright, well, it is what it is.
Like a miniature heater.
Yeah, this whole room's cooking. It's like 33 degrees Celsius out here, so I'm not sure what that translates to in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's warm.
I'm not extending my dining session because of... I'm not quite understanding their fizz. We get to guess. You're eating burritos? Did I miss something? I don't know. What did I miss? Who's to say? Alright, so... it doesn't matter.
Somebody said, let's play the What is Eco Eating game.
Oh, okay.
And then somebody said, you're eating burritos.
Yeah. So, there we have you leaping across the ooze.
Yes.
So, it shows you, ever so heroically, but the blam! Leaping into the room as off to the side. Oh, seriously, what happened? Oh man, that was terrible. Just atrocious. Oh, so sad. So sad. Oh, and one of these. Completely forgot. As you leap across and the camera pans to the one side, an explosion takes place and the room fills up with fog. Oh, come on, Betsy. Come on. Now would be the time. The room fills up with fog as the massive explosion rifts outwards from the ground. The camera pans over to the corner to show you coming in. You can hardly believe what you see. As you peer to the one side, you can see a knight holding an old man. Where'd the old man go? Shit. An old man.
Old man.
An old man at bay as he's pointing towards and shouts out, "Get to the lever! The lever on the far side next to the tank!" And he's pointing at this tank and you can see a lever off to the one side.
I'm gonna go for it. Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for the lever.
Throw athletics.
With advantage because of enhanceability. It lasts for an
very
hour.
good. Very good.
With a 12 on the dice plus 3, 15.
Sorry, 15?
Yes.
All right. Managing to make your way through the bits of swampy ooze that are billowing from the now craterous hole where your base was. You grab a hold of the lever and pull strength. So roll strength there.
Would be another advantage. I like enhanceability.
Yeah, it's working out for you here, actually.
Well, that's not too great there. That's just going to be a 9.
9's pretty good. But despite as good as it... Actually, no, it sucks. Pull as hard as you can. It seems that the metal is seized, and you can feel the handle start to bend in the heat of the billowing flames. And a moment later, it suddenly flares again as pressure seeps from within. Uncontrolled maelstrom flies about. Throw me a dex save.
A dex save? Oh no.
I know, right?
It's going to be 8.
8 is not so great. 4 damage do you take as the maelstrom's energies eddy and flow about. Several of the protons, electrons, God knows what sort of neutrons, who's to say, trons, smash into you, feeling like the power of a magic missile, each one of them. You stand there against the frothing, flaming horror show of the maelstrom, trying to pull on the lever some further, or do you have another idea?
Oh, gosh. Well, I don't really have any other ideas. I'm going to keep trying to pull the lever.
Okay, throw me strength again.
Trying not to break it.
Fair enough. Throw me strength again.
11.
11 this time?
Yeah.
Alright, still shit, but better than 9. You managed to grab it by the base, and against the searing heat, pull the lever down. The pressures subside, and a gelatinous plasma glass rests where the eddies fall to the ground, the magic actually splashing as they hit the floor. As you stare upon it, you see it sort of writhe and watch as the ooze to the right of you, or to the left of you, begins to somewhat ebb. A few priests peer in, looking about, and the old one from behind rushes forward, and before anybody can say anything, he leaps down onto the ground and has a jar in hand and is taking a sample. He looks at you with a wild eye and says, "This is fascinating. The power we are bringing forth, the things we are doing." Yes, I am on the spot, busy. I'm terrible.
Don't you see how dangerous this is? This is
Dangerous relative son. We must harness this somehow, some way. Give me those calculations, he shouts at a priest that's peering in. And the little young fellow suddenly ducks away with a shriek and and disappears from view. And he gets up, fools all around me. Fools all around me, I tell
Was
you.
anybody hurt by this?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does matter.
No, because progress has no cost. And he storms away. The camera swivels across your face as you look upon your brother. You question the word as it comes to mind.
Okay. Oh wow. Let's see. So, what? Okay, so all of that craziness that was happening from this thing is pretty much subsided at this point. It's like a pool of like glass, like molten glass at this point.
Yes. And still, the weirdest part is, as you look into it, your reflection doesn't just sit still. It kind of seems to ripple and shape and move. And you aren't quite sure. You don't want to sound crazy, but it's almost as though your reflection winked at you.
Do I recognize what this could be at all? If there's like do I know what this is, or is it just like, to me it's just some molten glass and it's just really weird?
Really weird molten glass.
Okay. Alright, well, is the other chamber still on? Still active?
It is actually. As the camera swivels over, it shows your reflection in the crystal box, and it shows your eyes fixated upon it.
And does it seem like anything's going wrong with it?
Roll investigation then.
Sure. 14?
With a 14, as you look upon it, you can see nothing obvious that is wrong with it.
Well, is there anybody else in this room? Hello?
A couple of the priests have slowly milled back into the chamber. And I was going to say the fellow has taken his sample and has actually exited stage right, headed to you're not sure what, you imagine a laboratory.
And the black ooze is still over there, slowly eating away at that corpse.
Actually, the black ooze I had said was withered.
Oh, it's withering.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good. I want to go check and just make sure it's like dead. I didn't like it. I didn't like that black ooze at all.
Going over towards it, it basically looks like snake husk. Just black, more or less pallid snake husk. No major texture to it or anything. Maybe a little bit of a rippling, like fluid was frozen.
Okay. All right. I'll leave it be.
Okay. If you poke it, it crumbles.
Yeah. It seems dead enough.
Desiccated.
All right. Well, that seems to be what the earthquake was. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. That's. That glass stuff is weird. I don't know if I like it.
So are you doing anything with it? What are you doing at this point? The priests are milling in. They're starting to clean up the glass stuff. And what they do with it is they actually they take a scraper and they scrape it off the bottom, and then they start to pack it into a crate. And they just throw it in unceremoniously. They don't try to keep it in any sheets or anything.
Okay. Yeah. So it seems like they're. I don't know. Well, I guess I would just probably. At this point, any immediate danger seems to have been quelled. I would probably, for the time being, start heading back to my daily routine.
Okay.
I was in the middle of, I guess I'm gonna go check on the garden again.
The garden?
I don't know. Yeah, because at this point, I mean, like, there seemed to be some kind of malfunction and something happened, and now it seems to be fixed. Other than, I mean, I don't know, maybe just examine maybe what happened with machinery?
Right, yeah. Okay. So as you're turning around there, I mean, you're gonna come across from here over here. Actually, there's a couple guys in here now, isn't there?
I mean, if I worked on it, maybe I have some idea. Like, was that a malfunction? Was that a mechanical malfunction? Was it some kind of unexpected event that we couldn't have foreseen, that we didn't account for?
This guy's off in his workshop. As you're mulling this over, you can roll an investigation.
Yes. That's looking like a 16.
Okay, sweet. As you come towards the cage and think about it for a moment, your investigation takes hold as you hear evidence of a suspicion. Oh! Somebody screams out as everything ignites anew, and next to you, as you're peering to the right, the entirety of the the casing next to you explodes, and everything goes dark. The last thing you hear is somebody scream out, "It's explode!"
Oh, right. Wow.
Now hold on one sec, sorry. Crotch camp for just a brief moment.
Sometimes it's gonna happen. Yeah.
Where the fuck is the... Oh, there it is. You awaken to a dark place. In the distance, you hear a wet sound. You slowly roll to the side and are confronted with another dead body.
Oh.
That's not really dramatic. There you go.
Oh, and they soiled themselves. Oh gosh. It really does happen. Oh,
By
no.
experience.
Oh.
A light fog rolls across the area. You look down at your feet. You see that your boots are somewhat burnt. You hear...
My beard is probably singed a bit too, isn't it?
half of your face is burnt off, basically, yeah.
Ow. Owie.
As you peer around the chamber, it's dark, save for a mild glow coming from recessed crystals. Anything that was metal at the far end, next to the explosions, is now but slag. You see several corpses of individuals that are nothing but bone and dripped flesh. The smell in the room, as it begins to overtake your consciousness, is unbelievably thick and disgusting.
Oh gosh.
As the camera pulls away, it shows a black ooze sitting thick, resting some in the midst of where the ruptures occurred.
Oh,
And as you
gosh,
peer away, as you peer away some distance through your feet, your head begins to swim from whatever injury you took. You can feel a pressure building in your skull. It's thick in your head, and you can't help it. It's so heavy in your head. So any sort of intelligence, wisdom, charisma checks are a disadvantage right now, and you're limited in sight. Everything after 60 feet is a blur.
All right.
Your movement speed is halved.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, you have 1 hit point, by the way.
Down to 1. Oh,
you literally
wow.
have 1 hit point.
Like, and that's all I can have, or is it?
You are literally at this point. You rolled a nat 20 on your death save. This is what's happening.
Okay. Okay. Oh gosh, is that who's doing anything?
As you peer over at it, it's just like your head's just like, and you look over at it, and all you see is a massive, blurry, writhing mass. And it's just a thick puddle that kind of blurps every so often, like a living swamp. But it's not making its way towards anything. It seems content with the 3 corpses that it has melted in its midst.
Okay. Alright, well, I'm hurt, and wow, okay, I need to get out of here. I want to try to, I just want to try to get to the closest exit from this place.
You hear a smacking, a wet smacking, and then the tearing of flesh. You also hear a cracking bone.
That sounds like something being eaten. Oh boy.
You slowly rise to your feet. Where do you head?
Wait. I'm just heading back out that door, and I guess I'm gonna burn my last spell. I feel like I really need to recover. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cast a level 2 Cure Wounds on myself.
Okay.
My last spell. Oh boy. Let's see here. D8. 2d8 because it's level 2. 10 and 8. That's a good deal.
Not too shabby.
That's 18 plus my bonuses from being a player of life. I think that easily hits 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
You reach inwards.
2 because of life, and then 2 because of my wisdom.
Okay. You reach inwards and pull the power of the Father in through the ether. Slowly it begins to knit bones, move organs back into position, and suture wounds. Bruises begin to fade as cells regenerate anew. You feel much better, almost complete and whole once again, thanks to the power of the Great Father.
Okay. Has anything else happened? Is it there's the ooze in there? Does it look like it's done anything?
No, but as soon as your arcanic word begins to ebb, the sparkles flashing, you hear echoing in the distance. And your attention is drawn into the darkness underneath the balcony. Your gaze swivels back over towards the doorway that sits between the 2 statues at the far end of the chamber. As you peer back over towards the entry, underneath the underneath the balcony, you see stepping forward out of the shadows the large silhouette of a man you would guess once upon a time, but now a fearsome beast of a form. Oh, hang on, you can't really see that.
It is a bit dark.
Yeah, never mind. Oh, just do this. Huzzah!
I see that there's a figure there.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this. Hang on. Yeah, how's that? You can barely see it. The ground shakes somewhat, vibrates as this thing steps out, and into the light. And looks over towards you. Its massive form, its massive form stares down at you. Its hulking flesh, frighteningly large in comparison to your diminutive form.
That just means they go down hard.
It begins to take a step forward, but you watch as its leg buckles slightly and it attempts to pick itself up. You notice that it's also hurt.
Does it look aggressive?
Yeah, it looks like it wants. It looks like it wants to fuck you up, but it looks like somebody has fucked it up somewhat.
All right. I didn't start anything with this guy. He looks like he's coming at me, so yeah.
You look at him.
I got my warhammer out. I'm ready.
Okay. You look to your warhammer and realize that you actually don't have it.
Oh gosh. Oh.
As you peer around for a moment, your head swims, and your vision starts to go slightly blurry as you look around, frantically thinking where your hammer might be.
Oh gosh. It's in the room, isn't it? Oh gosh, it's in the room. I'm gonna go back in that room real quick and see if it's on the ground somewhere.
Okay. With half movement, you turn around on the one leg, wincing with pain as the sensations shoot up through your buttock into your lower back. You stumble forward, attempting to gain speed, and end up doing the Terry Fox through the doorway. You're kind of like, behind you, this thing lets out a happy and begins to limp forward, giving chase. The camera swivels to the one side to show you limp inwards through the door, as behind you the lumbering form comes and smashes into the door, falling off balance. A cacophonous crash resonates out as the door is ripped from its hinges, and he stumbles into the frame. Your poor bike.
Okay, vision's a little blurry, but am I able to find my warhammer anywhere on the ground?
As you come rushing into the room, looking around frantically for the moment, trying to sight it, roll perception at disadvantage, 11 or better.
Okay.
That's a 10 or better.
Well, it's a natural 15 and a natural 9, so 9 plus my perception, which would only be the 2 from my wisdom.
What's your 11 exactly?
Yeah.
That's
11.
awesome. Staring in amongst the rubble, in a frantic moment, the camera pans across your head, shows from your eyes, with this asshole coming, ripping down the door and throwing it to the one side. Swivels around to show you and the focus you have on the piece that's situated right here, and you run in to grab it. Swivels around once again to show you now with the hammer in hand from the back, leveling off against this guy who now just peers in and gives you a big roar of anger as he stomps his foot and gets ready to charge in. That said, what do you do?
Well...
Are you holding for when he charges in?
Junitor is. Well, I'm feeling that all this, you know, I find meaning I try to find meaning in everything. Everything has a message. There's always.
The camera pans across you, and you close your eyes, and you hear the Father's voice, and you say to yourself, "There's meaning in everything." All right, and keep going.
I shout out at this beast. I shall smite thee from this hallowed place. And I'm just gonna walk as quick as I can towards him, even with my limb. And I'm just gonna go straight at him and start swinging.
Hey, heading forward, light of the builder shines.
So if I can all I can do is move forward and hold my action until he gets close to me, then I can do that.
Oh, just smoke. And I'll later.
Yeah.
Okay, she want me to smoke it for her too? Take the bucket. What are you doing? Take the whole arrangement. Alright, so the light of the builder shines out of you as your resolution takes hold, and with the wounds upon your body, with the blazing, with the melted skin of your scalp, the burnt away beard, the rotted flesh of your fingers, you stumble forward, hammer in hand, resolution of the builder within your soul, and the camera pans forward to show the beast lumber forward through the frame, busting the frame's edges out, and as he comes towards you, roll the hit.
Alright. That's a natural 19. So about 25.
Sweet. He unfortunately rolled a 9. So
Okay.
he's gonna roll nothing here. As you hey, sorry.
Max damage, yeah.
Seriously?
12 damage.
Oh wow. Alright. Swing yeah. Swinging through. He yells out as his chin snaps upwards. Blood and sweat fly away from your strike as he stumbles to the one side. His head snaps. Where the fuck did my truck go?
And I kind of cry out, you know, in my stupor, you know, almost kind of like slurring my words. The builder watches over me this day.
Fire experience. Camera's gonna swivel down to him. As he recoils back towards you, he takes a step over with a 17. He strikes into you, and everything goes dark again. You loll awake for a brief moment as you're being dragged along. He's got you as such. So you're being dragged along through the hall. For the brief moment that you wake up, you see ahead, and you don't know what to think of your fate, and you pass out again from the pain. You wake up a little further ahead, in a different hallway, staring at a different ceiling. This time you're being dragged by your shoulder, and you're staring behind, and you can see the destruction throughout the Bastion. And you, with a heavy heart, are starting to understand that it wasn't just here where chaos erupted, but all around. And as you continue to get dragged along, your wounds take you again, you pass out. And you awaken a little further down to the sudden and mellifluous sound of a stabbing sword, and the beast that held you falls to the ground. You watch as its corpse lays down next to your barely conscious self, and a familiar pair of the builder's boots on somebody's feet come into view. And you are dragged to your feet as best as you can be, and everything goes dark again. You come to just as you're seeing the base of a strange structure. A sort of statue holding booth that is used for historic figures and those with illnesses. And you watch as an armored figure spins you around. His arms, her arms, you're not sure, its arms. The armored figure spins you around and looks upon you. Do you say anything? You can muster a few words, you feel like.
At this point, I'm kind of in a stupor, but I'm just gonna like just whisper out. The builder watches over me this day.
That he does, brother.
A crystal sheen stretches across your view. And you are taken to a place that you cannot know.
No.
When suddenly the sheen disappears, and you find yourself confronted by a dragonborn soldier and a small arcanic figure. You think it's a gnome, and they look upon you and you look upon them in confusion. And a brief conversation later, your adventures start. And the camera fades to black.
Oh, that was good. I like that. Mm-hmm.
You like that?
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
That was good. Good character building. I liked that.
How'd you like it? Not bad for coming up off
And
the
you know,
cuff, eh?
and I feel like everything that happened, it just completely built into who Junitor is after he wakes up in this completely fallen place. Because, you know, the amount of people that he watched just get completely decimated right before his eyes. And there was like, even though he tried to help, things kept just falling apart quicker and quicker. And it even echoes into the things that happen after he's awakened from that chamber. Because, right, like one of the, like, you know, the last session we had, I was trying to perform surgery on somebody. And it's just everything I tried to do, just I'm like slicing into this guy's belly, trying to cut a tumor off of his body. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it just keeps happening. And I feel like it just completely built into everything that Junitor had come so far in this story.
Not too shabby, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That one was good. I have to admit. I was pleased with how it turned out. I'm sorry that we had the interruption partway through. That kind of sucked. But,
Yeah.
the truth be, all things considered, it's still wrapped up pretty good. What'd you like, what'd you hate, what was your favorite part, what'd you like the least?
As always, I really like the camera work. I like the really cool angles and everything. I always think that looks really good. I didn't like that we had to miss some people today. I'm glad that we still got to do something, but it would have been better if we had a group.
No, if it had been a group,
It's
it
always
wouldn't have
better
been.
with a
If it had been a group, it wouldn't have been an establishing thing. You know.
That is true. That is probably my favorite thing is that I got this opportunity to really flesh out my character.
So there's that.
And get into who he is and what's happened to him leading up to this point. And that's really cool that we actually got to play it out. And the least favorite thing was probably just the little technical glitches we had, but that's, you know, that's computer stuff. It happens.
After that interview.
That's honestly the only thing I can think of that would be my least favorite part.
Fair. What I like, what I hate was my favorite part. What I like the least. Part I like the least was the technical glitch. Being shut down for 20 minutes ish. Sucked. C'est la vie. Aside from that, the ending. I didn't want the ending to be. I didn't want the ending to be something that it didn't need to be. I wanted it to be a natural thing. I felt that it could go either way. It could be an epic thing. I like the way it went. And the way what I was going for in the end was actually that you'd either stand your ground and get taken down like you did, or you'd run, right? And it would be you'd be running away, limping, and he'd be like limping after you, right? And then in the next area, you'd pass out from the pain and come to watch the guy stab the thing through the neck or something. So either way, it's supposed to go that way, and then you get shoved into the crystal.
I liked it. I liked
Now,
it a lot.
if you hadn't gone into the room, right? If you missing 35 minutes of content, man, I'm missing 3 people worth of content. Like, come on, I'm working with what I got. I made that shit up off the cuff, man. Come on.
That's and that, yeah. All props for that. That was something that's just like completely off the top of your head. I enjoyed it a lot.
My pleasure, brother. But yeah, no. If you hadn't gone into the room, then it would have been a situation where you didn't shut it off, and then we would have done something Ghostbuster-ish, where all the spirits start pouring out, and you're, yeah, 20-minute shitty commercial. Well, actually, 20-minute commercial for my alt account, I guess. I laughed. I looked at my channel on my phone. I was like, oh yeah, I'm auto-hosting my other account. That's awesome. So just suddenly, PlayStation VR shows up, I think it was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was listening to that, and I was like, sounds really familiar.
Have you played it?
What? No.
Anyway, so, yeah, if you hadn't gone in there, it would have been a little bit different. It would have just, played with it a little bit differently, but...
Yeah, because the way I've always thought of Junitor, he's not one to run.
No, and that's fine. Yeah.
And that even plays into how he acted around that weird wizard dude that was in the prison. He's like, we can't be afraid of this guy,
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything.
But it really feeds into the idea of, like, the experimental shit that the place was doing, too. Was another part of it for me. Like, the volunteer.
And I was right. I was right to be worried about it, But this, this know-it-all wizard dude over here is all like, oh, yes, this is really powerful stuff. Yes, power. And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, I'm doing it anyways.
Hang on one sec. Sorry about that. Minor interruptions. Listen, you! Why don't you get on a character sheet and jump in? Honestly. If I gotta make it up off the cuff, then I don't have the material to fill it. I'm not gonna just fill it with garbage. Filler sucks.
Junitor fights a bunch of zombies for 15 more
Right?
minutes.
Why are we doing this? I don't know. Fuck it. Whatever. It hit all the beats it needed to hit.
You're walking through the woods and you find a bunch of wolves. But
Wait a minute, why am I in the
where
woods
do wolves
suddenly?
come from?
I don't know, because Johnny wants 15
It's
more
the
minutes.
woods. You find 4 wolves in the woods.
But wasn't I in the Bastion? Yeah, you're in the woods now. Shut up. Go with it. Just do it. It's like make like Nike and shit.
So you're walking in the woods. Wait, we were in a dungeon. You're in the woods. Dungeon.
D&D
Alright,
suddenly
dungeon
turns into a
woods.
void conf test.
Whatever.
Like seriously, hey? D&D suddenly turns into a void conf test. So I liked it. I liked the way the story built. I liked the opportunity to get that in there. I really like to know how the hell we had fucking so many people just. That's
not having to show up.
Not to mention last minute ones suck. Oh my god. It should though. I didn't know. I wrote it when. Yeah, never mind. It should include Merlin. I sincerely hope he's okay. I mean, he didn't mention he was going to be absent this week. And if he did, then, you know, I'm an idiot. Whatever. I don't know.
I don't remember him saying anything.
Yeah. It's too bad. You know what? The stuff I had written down, like, I mean, it doesn't matter. I can play it all next week, but
yeah, you'll have more time to prep stuff this way too.
It's not a lot to prep, to be honest. You guys are almost finished the campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's only about 2 more sessions, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of a surprise lined up for you guys that way. I'm curious to see which way it goes. Because it could actually, there's a bad ending to this.
I feel like there definitely is a bad ending.
Well, no, you could win the day. You could absolutely win the day. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a good and a bad. There's good and a bad ending that I have in mind. So we'll see how it goes.
So would I be getting any experience from this session?
Yes, you can take 400 experience.
Okay, all right. Because you had mentioned experience earlier, and I was like, I guess it could carry over since I haven't been leveling or anything, and maybe it's just like the experience I had when I came back up.
Well, you were a higher level going into the cube. You lost levels while in the thing, so they're coming back to you now. Is what it is.
Yeah.
400 experience came back to you while you were adventuring. Yeah, playing it safe would be like having a roster of 12 viewers, or 12 streamers that I could have jump into play. That way there's a 1 in 3 chance, or that way I could lose the group twice over and still have no players. There we go. Oh.
I like the D&D Beyond. I think that this is a really... It seems really user-friendly once you kind of figure out where everything goes and once you can figure out how to get your character put together, because you got to make sure you get all the little details from everything.
D&D Beyond's new character generator is the bee's knees. The only problem I have with it is the PDF export. You give me PDF export, it's perfect. I even especially like the add an item to your character and then having to equip the item. I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, all in all, very intuitive. Search boxes where you need them. Options to filter in the item list. The ability to add homebrew. The form entry is nice and quick. The interface makes sense. I wasn't confused at any point. Didn't note any glitches.
The only thing I could think of that I would be hesitant about is that at any point during that entire encounter, if I thought I knew what it was I was fighting at some point, like when you said Aarakocra, I'd be like, oh, I can go look up an Aarakocra and see what its health is, and if it's weak to anything, and it's like, you know. And
I've never had a problem with that, though. I've never had a problem with that. That's a fact with every game. Every game.
I actually have had a problem with that. I have had a player that one time I was like, you know, they were fighting a green dragon, and all of a sudden he's like, guys, we've like practically done almost its entire health full of damage. We need to just kill it really quick. And I'm like, how do you know whether or not it's almost dead? I haven't told you that it looks like it's almost about to collapse in death. You know, like, and I think he did it before too. And I was like, you know, if he's like looking it up on his phone and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want you doing that. I don't want you looking at the stats of monsters. You don't need to know how much health points it has left. And I will, if you want to ask me and say like, okay, how badly hurt does this thing look? I'll tell you how badly hurt it looks.
Fair enough.
And you know, like, and from a standpoint of like, okay, you know, maybe this creature is immune to something, but your character might not know that. Your character may have never encountered a creature like this before, or never even heard of one. So how would your character know whether or not it's immune to certain damage? I don't know.
See, I personally never had
I've always kind of been against the whole metagaming thing.
Which is fair. I mean, there's a case to be made for it. You know, don't do it because it ruins the gameplay. And that makes sense. I personally, I haven't not really been bothered by it because it's never been a problem. Maybe my team would change if people were doing it constantly. But the truth is, people know that if they start to fuck with the game, like, if people start to cheat, I start to cheat.
Yeah.
And if your DM is cheating because you're cheating, you're gonna lose, because the DM's already a cheater.
Yeah.
The DM can just...
They can do anything they want. It's like, okay, I'm a DM. You're going to question why this is in my campaign now? Maybe I don't want there to be something.
The good DMs are the ones I think that understand it's a democratic storyline, right? Like, you work with the person, come up with a good story.
Yeah.
But yeah. If you're gonna, at the end of the day, I expect that people are gonna be cheating because they want to have a better game of it. And if somebody's looking up the amount of health, well, hit dice, bitch. Now it has fucking max health. You know, now you definitely know how much health it has. It has max. Why don't you read out for everybody how much health it has? You know, like, straight up, just make it a problem. Like, that's the thing. Is if you want somebody to stop behavior, make it a problem for everybody so that they stop that behavior. Otherwise, everyone will not like them. It's not the DM doesn't like me. It's my DM made everybody not like what I was doing because it cost everybody. And that's the easiest way to make it work. Is you put them at social odds. So don't fuck with me. I will make it so you're fucking everybody over. And that's how you stop a problem player, gameplay-wise.
That's a good idea. I gotta start doing that more.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, because like I was playing this one session the other. It was actually the other night. It wasn't this recent Thursday. It was the Thursday before.
Wish out?
Or no, it was this last Thursday. And all the players, they're in the Underdark, and they're trying to help these Dark Gnomes who are enslaved by a bunch of Dark Elves. And they plan this thing out with the Gnomes, where the Gnomes are going to try to distract a bunch of the guards from this keep out and into a trap. And then in the meantime, the party is going to try to sneak in and try to figure out like what's going on with them, with these people trying to resurrect this old dead dragon. And the party gets inside, and they end up fighting a whole bunch of dwarves and a couple of elves. And at the end of the session, the sorcerer was kind of like, what the fuck were the gnomes doing the whole time? Why were there so many people in here? They should have all been outside. And I was like, you think everybody's gonna go outside? You know, like there's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of people that got taken out because of the distraction, but. You know, that just means that you guys didn't fight as many as you could have. You're still going to fight something. I'm like, I'm going to make you have to fight something at that point.
Yeah.
And not that that was like a punishment or anything he did, but it was like, the way he said it at the time, I was like, oh, you're questioning what I'm saying to the DM, like.
Oh, I'm going to do this. There we are.
If I say something in the world is the way that it is, then it should be the way that it is.
And that's as simple as it is. No, there's nothing really... Like, what I was saying earlier about making it a problem for the group can make it a problem for the DM too, right? I mean, that's the whole point of a democratic story, is that everybody agrees with it. There is no one side to it. The DM doesn't just say... You know, the DM can totally say rocks fall, but if a player throws up a wall of force, the DM can't say the rocks break through the wall of force. If the DM says, if the DM wants to be like, they're rocks of force and wish, and they break through. When they hit something, they wish to break through it. Erg. Then in that case, that DM is an idiot. and a childish dick at that, and we'll probably be lacking players soon. I'm sure some of my players would joke and be like, well, Dooley, ha ha ha. But I know that I'm a lot nicer than that. I am a lot more democratic than that. A hell of a lot better than some of my players, I would dare say.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Actually, when it's only local Wi-Fi, even better. It's actually smooth transitions. Goody.
Ooh, color change.
Right? Yeah, you can't really see them on the Hangouts because the Hangouts camera levels out the color. I can turn that off, but it never stays off. It's really fucking, it's a pisser offer on Linux, how these cameras work. But I'm gonna replace them soon. Yeah, I found out the Hero 3, Hero 4, Hero 5 especially is not gonna work as a remote cam. Can't remember if I was telling you guys about this, but long and the short, the way it works, the Hero 3 and 4, they have a preview on their LCD. The footage for that preview is held in a file on the camera. The preview can be accessed by basically hacking the camera after a fashion, but it's a really easy hack. You have the ability on the 3 and 4 to set up a Wi-Fi hotspot using the GoPro itself. So the GoPro acts as a miniature router. So this allows you to connect your phone to the network that is generated by the GoPro. Now, that's starkly different from most devices that look for a network to join. That said, a printer has both. It can be a hotspot or it can join a network. If it can join a network, then anything on that network can access it. If it is the network, then only things that connect to it can access it. The limitation in that is caused by the fact that you have to connect to it, and the GoPro has no internet access. So you can't actually stream from it because you can't get to the internet. So what you have to do, this is where shit gets weird, is you have to you connect a wireless connection to the GoPro. Now, in some cases on Windows and Linux, if you're using some hardcore tools, you can use both connections, a wired connection and a wireless connection. So your wireless connection attaches to your GoPro and your wired connection to the internet. So at that point, in theory, and I've not tried this myself, you should be able to stream from a GoPro. Now, that's a bit of doing, but if it works, then great. That said, that's only in 3 and 4. The 5 doesn't allow it at all, which is weird, but everything I looked up said it's not doable, that they just don't do it anymore, and that's it. So where does that leave me? I have no idea what to do about a mobile cam, and this thing with its wire and shit all getting in the way constantly is driving me nuts. Yes. I just don't know what to do. I don't need a 4K cam. I need like a little spy cam. I literally need a little, like a Bluetooth cam. You know, Bluetooth camera. Bluetooth remote camera, miniature thing. You know, this thing could be tiny. Because it would be smaller than the battery pack that it's attached to.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like they're out there. They can do that. They can.
So in any event, I can't find this sort of thing. So the next step is to get a little mount for a phone, and then get a little junk phone, as small a form factor as I can get, like a 4-inch possibly, if I can find one. Load Hangouts onto that, and use that as a camera.
Yeah.
And then for a battery, I would get one of those battery packs. You gotta get them off Amazon. I've looked everywhere in town. This is why I don't have one yet. But that's what we'll probably do after the stream is go and order that. Because in thinking
Yeah.
about it, I have no other way of actually doing this. So it's got to be like a little. It's got to be a little phone that I set up on one of those gorilla style tripods. That's gonna be as small as I can get, unless I want to custom fashion a spy cam. Which I'm halfway tempted to do. I mean, really. I imagine it wouldn't be too difficult. Gotta do research and do it. Wire a couple of bits together. Something's got some sort of workings. Someone's got some sort of workings, I'm sure. Oh, anyway. It's probably late for you. You want to head off to bed or whatnot, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's not late, but yeah, I'm probably gonna start getting ready for bed soon, at least.
Cool.
Well, this was fun. I really wish we could have had at least one or two more people here, but do what we can with what we have.
It is what it is. Let's do it again sometime.
Were you going to be joining us tomorrow night? Because I was going to do the character creation tomorrow night.
That's gonna be 5.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, it's 5:30ish is about when we'll start.
Do that or go to the gym. I'll come to you.
Right now confirmed. I have 4 other people that are going to be trying to join.
No, fair enough. No, I'll come to the game.
Cool. Yeah, it would just be like starting everybody at level 1. Yeah, and specifically, I'm wanting to make sure that everybody knows that I don't want there to be like an idea of restriction on like what class you should be or should not be because of the setting. Like, well, we're fighting a bunch of robots. Why would we use a bunch of hammers and axes? How's that going to cut through metal? And I don't want people to think like that. So it's like I'm kind of trying to make it clear that like there are good legitimate reasons for people that specialize in melee combat, specifically things like the fact that you still have to fight bears and wolves and things like that out in the wilderness. And other kinds of creatures that are not immune to things like hammers and axes. And there are also there's a lot of highly advanced technology, and there are things like melee weapons that have energy attachments to them, to where you can actually hit things with plasma up close and do damage to them.
You know what I've always liked is the idea of a skill system where you have roots and then synergies or synergistics. So you take you take nature, and nature is this skill that allows you to have knowledge of the birds and the bees. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you have let's say engineering. Okay. And so engineering is like a catch-all. It allows you to understand how machines work. You mix engineering and nature, and that gives you trapping and dam building and shit like that. You mix engineering with firearms, and that gives you your gun plumbing and your repair. Mm-hmm. You mix firearms with acrobatics, and it gives you gun fu, right? And then if you want to do something crazy, you apply your gun fu. Do you have proficiency or synergistic proficiency in gun fu? Oh yeah, I have these 2 skills. Okay, well there you go, right? And so you have gun fu, or you have gun plumbing, or you have trapping, or like you'll have stealth. Okay, and stealth is a good root skill. And then what else do we have? Stealth and nature. Okay, well now you have hunting. Mm-hmm. Right, mm-hmm. And so forth, so forth, so forth. And I like that sort of idea where you invest in a skill, and then if you invest in another skill, strategically you get another skill. And
that's a really interesting idea. I like the idea of like building skills that maybe these ones don't specifically go into well enough.
Firearms and theology. And so you get your Republican skill. You see, Trump gets everywhere. It's all in my shoes. It's in my stream. Seriously though, like that sort of thing, right? Now you have synergy, right? No, seriously. It's oh shit. Hang on, drawing a blank here. It's a faith, like you can take bonuses on a faith-based thing. If you actually have religion and then you take fucking firearms. Now you have favorite enemy. There you go. That's what you have is favorite enemy. Oh, that's good. And you can even actually just count your proficiency as yet another bonus that you get as damage. There you go. That's the new form of favorite enemy. Advantage on the roll plus. But yeah, no, I think that sort of thing would be important to help add that layer of character development for those extraneous skills, so that you can have those skills without infantile bonus, without miring the characters, without miring the players, I should say, right? Miring, like, knee deep in fucking skill choices. That was the problem with Shadowrun. What the good thing about Shadowrun was you could do skill groups. But the problem with Shadowrun was if you didn't do the skill groups, you had to make individuals, and even if you did the fucking skill groups, it didn't cover them. There was some 50 skills.
How many is there in like D&D? What is it, like 20?
Something like that.
About 18.
There you go, Johnny.
Yeah, because the book even kind of gives you these ideas where it's like, well, when you use like thieves' tools, you're not really using any of your particularly proficient skills, but it's like a proficiency that you get to be good with that. And so, it kind of opens the door to kind of, maybe like make your own kind of tools and items that you can be proficient with, and then just build on that and say like, okay, there's particular skills that because maybe, as I was saying earlier, some of the skills don't really describe in detail as much of a thing as maybe you're thinking it would be.
Well, if you set up a tree, it gives people role-playing ideas too. But yeah, no. Oh, okay. Like for what we're going after, what you're going after for the futuristic setting, I imagine that you're gonna have to curate some of the skills. You're gonna have to swap some stuff around. You're gonna have to change some stuff up, right? You're gonna change some stuff up.
There's gonna be a few things.
So
in terms of skill proficiencies, there's going to be things like for one thing, like computers. That's going to be like computers. There's going to be some kind of like, and that's why I'm thinking that actually what you came up with this sounds like a really good idea, because then I don't have to say like, okay, one of your proficiencies would need to be computers if you want to be proficient in computers. Well, no, if you have maybe really high intelligence, you don't have to be skilled at computers. Your high intelligence just means that you know how to use them.
Well, in all fairness, it's still going to be intelligence-based, and you're still going to do the same math, I guess, for the 5th edition.
So,
or did I miss what you were saying earlier then?
I'm sorry, what?
Did I miss what you were saying? I feel like I missed what you were saying earlier then, because I thought you were saying one thing, but clearly, no, never mind.
Well, because you were saying like maybe there would be like a lot of skills that I would have to replace and stuff, and I think it would be mostly just that there would be certain skills that we would add as part of other skills that people are proficient with.
Yeah, and then because they're proficient in specific ones, they get the synergistic one, and so it goes, right?
So like if somebody is really good at a couple of intelligence things, and like it's like, okay, yeah, you know how to use computers and you know how to do this, or or for instance, let's think of another example, like the engineering aspect of it, I guess. Maybe if you have like good dexterity, for like maybe your I would say acrobatics.
You know what I would say
But
is just throw as much shit at the wall as you can. Come up with just as many fucking skills as you can. Okay? Just everything that comes to mind, everything that you possibly need, and don't be afraid to double up on stuff. So you write like survival and then something else like related, I don't know, survival, camping, fishing, hunting, trapping, and then you go to engineering, metalworking, gun plumbing.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of more was like metal, like actually like building things like machines.
And all these various categories of skill of them, then you start to slowly whittle them off and be like, okay, this can, and you draw arrows, this can be part of this can be part of that, et cetera, right? And in that way, you get to your root list. And you get some of the other guys to look at it too, right? Like some of the other players to look at it and see, you know, this works, that works, get suggestions around, that sort of thing, right? So, I don't know. That's the best I got.
Definitely something to build upon.
Injections, bulletproof bread and water. You know what? A new soundboard would definitely be something to look at, because the current one I have runs on a Windows program through Wine on a Linux OS. So setting up my own soundboard that plays a randomly selected wave wouldn't be that difficult. It'd just be the difficulty of it would be setting up the interface such that, you know, it's a keyboard and you click it and it saves to a file and then loads to a file, etc. Even the saving and loading wouldn't be that hard at all. I mean, shit, it's just letter number, letter key code, letter file name, whatever. And anyway, I'm babbling at this point. Sorry. Yeah, new soundboard would be good. I think a new soundboard would be great.
Yeah, I mean, like I've got a lot of everything. I mean, I really don't want to go too much into like all of the homebrew rules that I'm going to come up with for this campaign, because I'm already doing a lot with putting in like really advanced technology and like robots and stuff like that.
The system for the most part is it's nothing. Like it's the basic die roll is the entirety of the system. As long as you understand that, you know, these sorts of dice work for this, that sort of, like the D20 decides everything, and then the other dice are damages, and that's it. And then you build on that. That's a framework, and you build on that framework to develop the game as it goes. Like most of the homebrew stuff is just really referential adjudications. I think it should be. I don't know what a referee's actions would translate to literarily speaking. But no, it's just adjudications you make as judge upon the game. Yeah, I should just use Gamma World. We could, but that's rules that we'd have to learn. It's much easier to just make shit up.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why. Yeah, one of my buddies is like, yeah, we should just play, you know, like a Savage World or something like that. I'm like, that's a whole other game. I don't want to learn a whole other game. I already learned D&D. I learned a lot of it.
I'm constantly learning every day, as the truth is, you never really remember all the rules.
No, I mean, you can't. There's so many different little things. You could memorize it all. You probably have like one of those like special minds where it's like you can like photographic memory of everything.
An eidectic? See, I don't have an eidectic memory. What I have is the problem that I have too many editions in my head. And so that on top of the playtest material, and I played a lot with the playtest. Like I dungeon mastered a whole bunch of playtest stuff, and so a lot of those rules got ingrained in me. So as a result, I'm like, that's why a lot of my homebrew rules, I'll even say, they're directly lifted from new AD&D rules. Don't they have a Gamma World currently for 5th edition? I thought they just brought out a DLC for it not too long ago, like a year ago. Maybe I'm just crazy. I'll bet you it already exists on the DM's Guild though, so. Regardless, I'm not playing Gamma World. I play my edition. He wants to play a Terminator version. I'm down for trying that out. Sounds like it could be fun. Kind of like Space Marines without the Space Marines.
I think it'll be good because I'm kind of thinking it as a very gritty. Oh god, scratching my throat. Sorry.
I hate those.
It's gonna. I envision it as being a very gritty, post-apocalyptic survival kind of game, where it's like, you know, you're out and you're trying to collect food and supplies and just trying to survive and to try to find as many people as possible to try to do something against, you know, the onslaught of these machines. And
laser swords.
And it's supposed to be like, you know, you're out in the wilderness, you're collecting wild animal meat and trying to scavenge like fuel cells and supplies and weaponry and just anything you can. And
I feel like
if you encounter the machines, your best chances are to run, because unless you are incredibly powerful and you know what you're doing, chances are it'll kill you in a few minutes. Easy.
I was just thinking it'd be cool. Cool if hit points always stayed shitty, so you could die really fast, but but everything else would get better and better, and have the same ramp up. I don't know. I think there'd have to be some changes.
The way I'm planning it is the fact that most of the machines are going to be so incredibly difficult to kill that the party won't even be fighting things like that.
But they're not that difficult to kill.
Really want to.
I mean, the T1000s and shit are another story. But the T800s, they showed footage of, like, you know, human forces just taking them on toe to toe. You know, so humans.
Yes. With advanced weaponry and things like that, yes.
No, these guys were just doing it with machine guns and shit. Come on, Terminator 2.
In Terminator 2?
Yeah. In Terminator 2, it shows them running across the landscape. It's a foot war. And they're blasting at them, and they're getting wasted, and wasting them back, and literally they're just going mano a mano with them, and taking them on.
Yeah. Okay.
And it shows that truck, and the flying unit overhead, and the truck flips, if you recall, and all those guys spill out. It's super epic style, you know.
Yes.
Anyway, it's not like I really remember. I expect you to remember. Mine's a blur. It's like 20 years ago.
Well, and the way I'm thinking of it is, okay, well, that's a lot of people, too.
Sorry, 25 years ago.
So what I'm thinking of is like, okay, you take it down to you only have, you know, 5 people within this little group. You know, most of you might not even have guns at this point.
Why not?
Well, I mean, because
you know what? If nothing else, I feel like people would have a broken gun or something like that they can have.
There definitely will be a few guns for the party.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going for the total post-apoc, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I don't. Sorry.
The way I'm envisioning the beginning is that the party starts off. There are a couple of partly broken guns that can still be used, but they're damaged and they're not in full functioning order, so they're not quite as powerful as they could be. And the group is not part of a group, like the party is not going to be in a group of survivors that has a lot. This is like, these guys are on the very brink of just being completely wiped out. And they're just, you know, holed up in the sewers of this city with the very few, like it's like 30 people.
Right.
And they're just trying to hold on as long as they can until they can figure out if there's any other groups of people alive, if there's anywhere that they can go. And the party is sent out to find supplies and food, and they're practically giving you all the guns they have, which is like a couple of pistols and a rifle. And so you have something. So, you know, and the you know, and then. So, you know, it kind of starts off where you have a few things, you have a few bullets, you have a couple guns, But I'm not building these things to go down easy. Like regular old bullets, I'm not thinking that stuff would really. It would eventually take these things down.
I'm good with it taking like depleted uranium shells in a 50 caliber range. You know what I mean? Like, and then the M16s that they show, they're not M16s, but they're pretty robust rifles that the soldiers are carrying in Terminator 2. So I wouldn't doubt that these things are rifled for some heavy duty shells. You know, these guys aren't firing 7.62. They're probably firing like Sabo rounds and shit, right?
If the party can find weaponry of that magnitude.
But what I'm
That's
thinking,
kind of the point what I'm saying is that, like, you could find stuff like that, but this party doesn't have access to that stuff right now.
no, that's fine. I mean, I personally, I'm like in my mind. How can I put this? If I wanted to give people a high octane, high action take on it, or not, either way, I could give them an overturned soldier's truck that was mostly destroyed, and there's a couple rifles laying around, or like a broken open ammo crate that hasn't been ransacked. And so you guys find that, a couple of them broken, a couple of them still working, and a bunch of ammo. And so now you've got weapons, and here's the funny thing is, like, you're still not good enough to take out Terminators, right? So the tricky thing about agency that some people don't understand is, even if a player doesn't do something because it would be unwise, the fact that they can do it is still a form of agency. So the player feels like they have control over the game because they're not doing something. And in this case, it's you have a gun and you're choosing not to use it, hence you're exercising a form of agency. Bravo. As opposed to, I don't have a gun, I can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, that's precisely what I'm trying not to do in this situation, is where it's like, you know, putting any of the players in a situation where they wouldn't, you know, have the ability to do something. That, you know, I'm building it where it's like, okay, like, if you guys want to fight one of these Terminators from the very beginning, if you guys encountered one, you certainly could. You might not win, and if you do win, you're probably going to suffer some heavy losses. But you certainly can try. That's, you know, you will have the means to do it. They're not completely immune to damage. They are just really tough and hard to permanently kill.
Which is fair.
So, I mean, you know, like, even if you chop it in half, it's going to crawl at you with its arms and still try to grab you, and it's going to squeeze your leg and going to, you know, try to kill you.
They're supposed to be the end-all, be-all of the enemy.
And that's not the only machines that the party would encounter. There's also going to be things like drones and you know, like, and tall mounted tank-like, you know, constructions and things like that.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know, we're gonna get a lot of the world building done tomorrow, I think, in terms of, like, figuring out who the characters are and where they coming from, where are they think they're coming from in this story. Because it's going to be like, okay, you guys are part of this, you know, this last group of survivors pretty much in this countryside. And, you know, you're holed up in the sewers of this city. There's a bunch of people. Most of them are not in any way combat ready. Most of them were, you know, just people that were running and managed to get found. You guys are some of the only people that could actually go out and look for anything. You know, where do you guys think you came from to find yourself here? You know, and, you know, if people think they knew each other, hey, you know, maybe you knew each other and you managed to get here together. It'd be a good story. So, you know, we'll see what happens, and I like this guy. Thanks.
Stop kicker.
I hope he's talking about me. Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot, and, you know, I want to have everybody's input as we're playing it, kind of. And I've tried to get a bit of input from everybody as well beforehand. And
oh, right.
I've even thought about, because like one of my buddies was like, I could be like, you know, Terminator, and he was like, I'll be a gnome, Terminator, you know, a gnominator, and I'm like, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't know, because then it's like I'm playing favorites with you, because you got to be the Terminator, and I know everyone's gonna be in the back of their mind like, what if I was the Terminator? So I don't know if I can do that. I've been thinking about it, because in the one of the Terminators, there was one of the guys that he was a death row inmate. I think it was in Salvation. He was a death row inmate, and instead of actually being put to death, he was put in cryostasis. And they put in him a new skeleton, and they implanted a bunch of chips in the back of his brain, but they left his brain intact so that he still thought he was himself.
Huh.
And it wasn't like his metal skeleton made him super strong or anything like that. It was reinforced so he could take a lot of heavy hits without suffering like broken bones. But he was still flesh and blood. He still had organs that would fail when damaged enough. And so I was thinking like, well, maybe one of the players could be something like that. But it's like in that sense, like, yeah, you could still die though. If something damages your body enough, your heart will stop beating and you will die. But I don't know. You know, I'm trying.
So
I'm
this
trying
guy's
to make people
RoboCop,
happy.
but not. He's RoboCop, but not.
Yeah, like kind of like RoboCop, but not most of the cybernetics don't really do anything to make him a better fighter. They don't make him more resilient. They don't make him particularly stronger. They just make him able to withstand, you know, having broken bones. Because his bones are metal. I mean, from what I remember in the movie, that was pretty much it. It was like he had a metal skeleton, and he had a bunch of chips that were put into his brain and stuff. And like he gets hit by this, you know, this bomb and stuff, and then he has like one of the Terminators actually like rips in and grabs his heart and crushes it, and he dies from it. But they, you know, they resuscitate him, but he dies from it, and they had to resuscitate him. So it's like he died. You know, just because he was a Terminator didn't stop him from dying.
So what? They just kept bringing him back, and he kept dying again.
No, they brought him back, and I think at the very end of it, he gave up his heart for a heart transplant for John Connor, because John Connor had to live.
Fair enough. Okay.
I didn't like that ending. I was like, man, what a horrible way to kill that guy. Like, oh, he gives up his heart for John Connor. His heart is so powerful because he was such a great man, you know. The guy was on death row.
That's funny. Oh shit. I should probably go. I probably should go because I have to drive somebody home.
All right. It was good having. It was good being here, not having you here. It was good. It was good. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, my man. Thanks for playing.
I will hopefully see you tomorrow.
Right on. Yeah. I look forward to it. It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll see you then.
See ya.
Cheers. And thanks for watching, everybody. Let me play you out.